Hi Aquarius, and welcome to my channel. So Aquarius, I'm going to start with you the same way I started with the other signs I've read for so far, which is by apologizing by the lack of professional setup that I have currently going on. I was explaining already to the other signs that this is my very first beginning on YouTube, and I have once chosen not to rely on my perfectionist streak, and I have decided to actually launch myself because I felt really much pulled into this direction and to do it now specifically. So yeah, forgive me if at this moment this is not the best visual or the most aesthetically pleasant kind of layout. I'm working on it. I'm planning definitely to step up my game, but I just wanted to start, putting out there the readings I had, because the purpose of reading for other people is really to be hopefully able to support or give, some kind of guidance. It doesn't come from me for sure. It just comes from, a source. And I would like to be able to, yeah, provide that for others if I can. And so why not starting now when I feel this pull? So this is where I'm at. If you haven't watched my very first video posted on the channel, then please do so. It would give you a whole lot of insights as to into how I read cards, and what brings me here basically is a mixture of intuitive reading and also astrology, because astrology is what I do, is what I breathe and live on my daily life, and I believe that both the tarot and astrology are wonderful tools to be actually to get some insights into our psyche, in the energy that surrounds us at the moment. And so about this, please don't forget that this is a reading that is timeless and you can access it at any time. I'm recording it in March 2024, but that doesn't mean that this is the only time it's valid. If you find it a year from now, that means that it's the right time for you to listen to it. And also, please don't forget that it is a collective reading. So some things will resonate, some won't. And if nothing does, it either means that I'm not the reader for you, or that this is just not the energy that is surrounding you at this moment. Maybe you didn't feel called to listen to it, and yet you're here, but then you'll find that perhaps this is not the message for you. So please just come back another time and check out my new videos. And if you like any of the content, just please give me a like, share with the people that you think may benefit from the videos, and also don't forget to subscribe, because that would give me a confirmation that this is the path that I should be going down to. And obviously, being the beginning, every little bit helps in terms of reassurance. So I would be very grateful if you could do that for me. Okay, so let's start your reading. Aquarius, what can I say? I'm not surprised. You are, sometimes people define you or call you a bit the alien of the zodiac. So, and there's always the factor of unexpected with you in the scene, which is something I love about Aquarius. I wish I had the way you can see things from a very broad perspective. Your humanitarian side is fantastic, and it's a sign that I'm very much fascinated by. I mean, I love all of my signs, but Aquarius is the one that it's the most critical. It's really hard to understand, and so I'm not surprised that this reading was a little bit hard for me. It felt like a tug of war, like this pull back and forth between energies, and I was just, okay, let me try to pin it down. But then I was, in the end of it, I was also thinking to myself, pin it down an Aquarius, really? Is that what I want to do? That is just impossible. And you know what I'm talking about. So let's start with the energy that is surrounding you at this moment, that crowns this reading overall. And this is given by this card over here, which is the Grand Trine, that says blessings. Now, if you know a little bit about astrology, I'm not going to give you a full lecture right now, but a trine in itself is when two planets aspect each other at 120 degrees, and it's always a symbol of harmony, of flow, and so it's always looked upon as a positive aspect to have. Now, one disclaimer I have to put out there right now is that I do not believe in positive or negative, just as much as I don't believe in shadow and light. Somebody has it more, one has one more than the other, or I don't believe in, I'm a man and so I only have a masculine energy. No, I don't believe in any of that. I believe that we're all made of all energies. So the light and the shadow is present in all of us. Positive and negative is. Masculine and feminine energy is equally present, no matter the gender you identify with. So that's very important for you to understand, because when I'm talking about the grand trine, and you see here the word blessings, and I'm explaining to you that a trine is seen as a very positive aspect to have in a birth chart. That doesn't mean that it doesn't come with some downsides, because everything, does. So yes, even if it's seen as a lucky aspect, to have the grand trine, even more so than the trine itself, because the grand trine is pretty much 3 planets aspecting each other at 120 degrees. So one more planet, instead of 2, there's 3 now. So obviously that would suggest that there is a whole lot of harmony, there is a whole lot of wholeness and completion that is proper to this card, and for sure that is the case. But there is also a downside with the Grand Trine, which is something I was explaining actually for some reason at the reading I've done before yours, which was Capricorn. And if you're tied to Capricorn in any way, whether you have it in your birth chart or in the chart of somebody that is very prominent in your energy at the moment, say that this is for you, like a question of love readings, for example, then please go check out that video as well, because whenever I find resemblance between readings or signs that I'm talking about, or I find myself talking about another sign while I'm reading for your sign, that means that there is a correlation usually between the two readings. So that is something you may want to go check out. So I was explaining to Capricorn, who had the Grand Cross, which is the exact opposite of the Grand Trine, which is a whole lot of challenging energy and a whole lot of tension to deal with. But like I said, there is a positive side, if we want to call it positive, also to the Grand Cross. So it's only fair to explain that the Grand Trine itself can mean something that is not so, good to have in some respect, which is it can come with a lot of inertia, a lot of laziness. So somebody has 3 planets flowing in energy so well that eventually the individual doesn't even know that he has dormant talents, for example. And so he will never put them to use unless he's very careful about it, if he doesn't make a point of discovering, going on a journey of self-discovery to the point of understanding that there is a whole lot there that needs to be developed, because that's the risk, that you have energy there, potential, talent that you will never put to use, and so you end up missing out in some respect. And so even though the reading itself, you will see now in a minute, was kind of difficult for me, because there was this tug of war, like I said, I just can't describe it in any other way, between the energies. I feel that this is exactly what the reading was all about, which is a pull between the energy that you would just like to put out because you feel blessed and lucky, because you have it in you somehow at some level, even if it's subconscious, that you get this, that you live life in a very open, truthful way. That's the beauty of Aquarius. You are devoted to the good cause, and you just will go for it, and you just won't accept anything less than that. But then, on the other hand, what you get is, there's a pull somewhere, perhaps in the energy at this moment, that says, hey, you probably need to look into something else, because there's something that you don't know about. And if you keep going the same way, then perhaps you're just not gonna, not gonna be rewarded with all the blessings that you could actually access. In fact, you're just gonna make your life perhaps boring. And that is a word that Aquarius cannot even think about. I mean, the most hopeful sign of the whole zodiac is you. I mean, hope is your second name. And so you just don't want to get bored. You always want to know that there is another way, that there is a better way, that you can always make everything happen. So the risk with the Grand Trine energy is that you may not be actually extracting all the possible scenarios that you actually want to have in your life, that you want to examine in your life. At least you want to have the possibility to be faced with those alternatives, if nothing else. And so Let's get into the actual spread. I'm gonna move the camera now. Again, apologies if you haven't listened to the intro before, you skipped it. This is my very first video for you, and at this moment I don't have this professional setting, so I will be moving the camera for now just to show you what the spread is all about, because I can't even catch it all in my camera. So the first row here is the Son of Fire, Work, Son of Water, Mother of Air, and the clarification card they pulled for the Mother of Air was the Exploration. Because already in the first, at the beginning of this reading, I was just a little bit puzzled. I was like, okay, I can get the kind of energy that there is, but then I don't understand why the Mother of Air is there. So the energy that I am confronted with at the very beginning is that of the Son of Fire and the Son of Water. Now, I need to specify as well that 3 out of the 4 suns that are in this deck are actually out, which tells me right off the bat that there is a very young energy. I'm not going to call it immature, because it's not about being immature. When you're young, it's not a negative thing to be immature. There's a process of growth that hasn't happened yet. And so when I say immature, is not fully shaped, let's put it that way. And so there's a whole lot of this young energy. And what is young energy all about? It's about rash decision. It's about not knowing what to do but doing it anyway, which in some ways I do equate to the energy that Aquarius brings along. It's just, is the person that inspires others to just look at things in different ways. I mean, you are Aquarius is really the person that brings extravagance and unexpected factor. You just throw them in and you just want to see how they land on people. You just want to be a bit disruptive around you. You just want to open people's eyes, which is fantastic. Just sometimes it can be a little complicated for others, because you're very unique in the way that you approach situations, and not everybody can understand it. So I understand why sometimes Aquarius unfortunately have this bad rap of being cold and detached and feeling less even, which is absolutely untrue. I mean, your feelings run so deep that the problem is that we don't see them. So people tend to think that they're not there, but they are. And so without going too much on a tangent, I just wanted to explain that the energy of the suns actually is very, it's an energy that you're familiar with. It's the energy that Aquarius would carry on his daily life, and you're pretty fine with that. And that's where the whole core of the reading comes across, that says, hey, I'm fine with this, what do you want from me, sort of thing. I found like this kind of fiery energy about the cards that were coming out. And so between the Son of Fire and the Son of Water, the first one being pretty impatient and active, like it's the ones in the regular decks, and so it's there's an enthusiasm about him. I mean, it is a charismatic young energy, and there's a love for challenges, there's a love for adventure. And then we have on the other side of the card that says Work, we have the Son of Water, which kind of has this more sensitive and artistic and emotional kind of approach to life. He can be inspirational for himself and others, but at the same time he can get lost in fantasies, because he's just not grown enough that way, and he he kind of can fail in his own attempt to feel good for himself and others, just because he's not grounded enough. And so in between these two cards, in between these two energies, which by the way, they could either be people around you, or it could be the energies that you're embodying at this time, which I actually feel at this moment, but you take it as it resonates. It may be somebody that you're dealing with. I feel that in between these two energies, the card of Work is there. It's the first input for me to say, okay, it means that there is some work to do, to change a little bit, to grow a little bit, not because you need to change, but because we all need to grow and you all need to evolve. Nothing is static, and we cannot stay where we are. Otherwise, where the human race would go. I mean, so if the purpose is evolution and growth, then these two wonderful young energies, they just need to put some work in, which goes back to the Grand Trine. If you don't put the work in, you're just going to stay where you are, and you're not gonna take advantage of all the opportunities that you have. So there's a factor here that says, hey, look around you, there's cooperation available to you. You don't need to do this alone, but just get to do it. Whichever way you approach it, get to do it. Now, the confusion started right there, which with the following card, which is the Mother of Air, which obviously is a more of a grown-up sort of energy. It's a very intelligent, independent kind of energy. There's a whole lot of clarity. It's somebody that loves to be fair. She knows what justice is, and she's very perceptive. She can understand others, and she can handle very well a crisis, which is very different from the energy of the suns. The suns are, all about the action, but they wouldn't know what to do. They would kind of have like this paralysis when it comes to facing something that is changing, something abrupt that takes them, out of the blue. It just appears and they don't know what to do with it. So the Mother of Air is kind of the counterbalance, or it's the next step into growth, if we will. But it was puzzling me because I was trying to understand how the pieces would get together, how the sun's energies and the Mother of Air energy would tie into each other. And that's when I decided to pull another card to clarify the Mother of Air. And the card that came out was the card of exploration. Now, that card tells me that there are intentions that are surfacing at this point in time. And we have maybe a shift in goals, and maybe we're starting to understand that there is something there that needs to be worked for or towards in order to reap some different kind of rewards, something that it's a little bit more consistent, a little bit clearer, something that can be handled in a more mature way, quote unquote. And so it's about embarking in a new adventure. So the first row of cards tells me that you may have gotten right now into an awareness that yes, you have a bunch of free flowing kind of energy, and you're very good with that. And nobody beats you at being the action oriented person that can really bring life to the dead, if you wish, but you need a bit more. You need something to become a bit more concrete for you to actually obtain a bit more in your life. And that's where the Mother of Air now makes sense with the card of exploration. It means that you have understood that there needs to be perhaps a switch in whichever area that concerns you at this moment, whichever the reason why you're here listening to this video is, because whether it's because it's a relationship that you're concerned about, or work, or a health issue, whatever that is, then, and by the way, if this is a health issue, let's not forget that I am not a doctor, so please go see a specialist. But what I'm saying is, if you're searching for guidance with no matter the area, there seems to be an awareness kicking in at this stage, or something. Maybe you need confirmation that this is actually something that you need to be doing, and your confirmation is here. Yes, you need to start working on something more than being just the wonderful you that you can be for everybody else, but not as concrete as sometimes the Aquarian energy can come across. A further confirmation of what I've just said came from the following couple of cards, one of them being the Ten of Water. This card is also called Repletion. You can't see it now. I'm sorry, I'm not going to move my camera around, otherwise I'm going to make you dizzy. You can just follow me. The Ten of Water in this specific deck is a card that says, that conveys a whole lot of calmness. And it's a symbol of letting go and being okay with it, like stopping, from refraining this energy or work that needs to come in from coming in. You just do, you just understand that you need to do what you need to do, and you are now kind of sinking into the good feeling that comes out of it. You're grateful for understanding that that there's some more potential that you can unlock, and so you kind of flow with it. Yeah. And the following card was the Daughter of Earth, and that was another beautiful card to have that confirms the path that you seem to be on. Because what the daughter of earth tells us is that there is some down to earth kind of approach that is now being taken, or at least intention is there. It's an energy that wants to realize plans. It's an energy that is very diligent. It's going to do the work that is needed, and it's also an energy that is very much in tune with the rest of the world and nature, in terms of, okay, I'm detaching from my own persona, and I'm actually looking at what's around me, and I'm going to start to feel it and see what's there available to me. And so I pulled a clarification card, which is this is easy one to take because it's on top of the other, and it's the Ace of Earth, which tells me that indeed you have ahead of you a really good beginning in terms of new, start fresh. Excuse me. And it's something that it's going to ground you if you work towards in that direction. It's something that it's going to reward you with practical effects. And so this is something that you really need to embrace if this is the phase of life that you're finding yourself in. And yet there is the card of disappointment right next to it, which tells me that perhaps you just haven't really made full peace with the idea. I mean, after all, you are very determined Aquarius. Aquarius is a fixed sign. It's really hard to change for an Aquarius. Once he changes, once he realizes that something is good for him, it's just going to go full steam ahead. But before he gets there, it takes him a little bit longer than, say, for a mutable sign like Sagittarius. I mean, you don't jump into things. You like to mull them over. I mean, you're very cerebral. I mean, you're the most cerebral sign of the whole zodiac, and a fixed sign at the same time, which means that you put a whole lot of thoughts in everything that you do, and you're not going to be swayed one way or another by anybody. You are your own person. You know what you want. And so I believe that the card of disappointment comes in here, even if you think you understand that you need to do more, that you need to work towards something different. It's really hard sometimes to let go of something that can even cause all the way up to, I don't know, depression, if we want to be very serious about it. I mean, for an Aquarius to change his whole way of looking at life, that means that it means that he needs to question himself, and to question oneself. I mean, Aquariuses are good at that because indeed they're very cerebral. So just give them a good thing to think about, something that is concrete enough for them to consider, and they will. So it shouldn't be too hard for you. And yet there is probably something, at the back of your mind that says, "Ah, man, I have done this my whole life, and now I actually have to change. I thought it was okay. I thought everything was flowing." So there still is, in the present energy, it seems a little bit of difficulty, let's put it that way, to just let go in that respect. But right next to the disappointment card is the card that comes right afterwards. So they both are water cards, the 5 and the 6 in this case. And in this deck specifically, it means that you're still going to pull on the wells of your creativity, and you're going to just, you're going to be the Aquarius that can actually face a challenge ahead with this mind. Just to be clear, you're not going to be too emotional about it, even if it's a 6 of Cups. So the Cups suit is here. So supposedly emotions, you're just pretty much going to go about it the same way you do. At least the process will be the same, but you will actually attain success by doing what you do, and you're gonna get back into the flow that you would like to be in, just possibly with different tools at hand once you start working on what it is that you need to work on. Now, a bit of caution here is advised because we have the two of wands, this would be, and in this deck is called domination. You see the image, it kind of, it's pretty clear that it's a symbol of force and strength, and perhaps competition, and not necessarily the healthiest of it. I mean, there's a whole lot of lightning striking, or just right, but behind the arms. So this tells me that there can be indeed the tug of war that I was talking talking about at the beginning. There can be a little bit of a struggle to let go and to come to grips with the concept of how do I go about this? And there are several ways to go about anything in life, really, don't we? Don't we know that? But sometimes it's easier to just kind of come across as the sun's energy, so being a bit rash about it and just perhaps overcome other people, and that communicates that that we're using power, the power that we have at hand, not in the best of ways. And so we need to understand there's another way to look at things, and that you need to possibly try to rein in some, I don't know, aggressive impulses, or trying to establish your own persona, your own new persona, in a way that may not be too gentle for others. Not that you have to think about others, but you need to, you need to do what you need to do. But like I said, there are many ways to go about the same thing. So I think this is kind of the trial and error kind of phase for you, where you become aware of something that it's very different to whatever you have done before or behaved before. And now you just have to assess, how am I going to go about it? How am I going to obtain what I need to do, and how am I going to go about it? And so this can give it can give into a bit of grief. The card that comes after domination is the card of grief, which is equal to the Three of Swords in a regular deck. And for sure, that can be a difficult one to handle, in terms of it can leave you with a bit of despair when you don't know how to go about something, especially for a cerebral sign like you are, that usually has everything clear in their head. They go about it, they have a system, especially a fixed sign does have a system. It can be a little unsettling, and that can lead again to the frustrations, even up to the most serious stages of uncomfortable, of feeling uncomfortable, which could be depression amongst other things. And so we go back to the Five of Water before. There can be this tug of war, like I said, going on until you find your own way. And the clarification card for grief was the Son of Earth, because I wanted to understand more about this grief popping up in the reading. And what the Son of Earth tells me, just like the other sons, is again, all the best intentions are there. You really want to be and do good to yourself and others. There's a whole lot of dedication, concentration. You want to get where you want to get, and it's actually difficult for the Son of Earth to get out of the path that he has gotten into. So that's what the grief is all about. Like I said before, it seems like you're struggling to get out of your usual ways, and who wouldn't? But for you specifically, may be a little bit complicated, because you may have thought that you had it all clear in your head. And so the Son of Earth is again another energy that is, thinks that has it all laid out for them and knows everything about it, but in the end there is it's missing a bit of growth, to the point that when something challenging comes along, like this moment in time could be for you, then it just doesn't know what to do with it. And that obviously can cause a whole lot of grief and sense of feeling lost. But finally, the card that I was hoping that would come out, because that would give me confirmation that you are present, that you are here, is the card that symbolizes Aquarius in the tarot decks, which is the Star. The Star is here, which means your energy is here. You know that you can do this. It's this is a real message of hope, which, like I said, is your second name. You know that even in the darkest of times, you actually have your own inner light that will guide you through it. You have your own light shining on yourself and on the world, and you should never forget that this is who you are at your inner core. You don't need to change that. You need to change the way you go about them, so that you can actually be even more of a shining light for yourself and others, which usually is what an Aquarius strives for. What you just need to do is to really kind of put on the side every assumption that you've had so far. That could have given you, like, given the hopeful being that you are, it could have given you it's sort of an unrealistic outlook on what life can be. And so, when the card of failure comes up, it's just, it's a tough card to look at just because the name. Let me put it on focus here. You have this. You see broken pieces of glass and a hand that kind of collects them. The first message I actually got with this card was like, okay, put yourself together, put the pieces back together, because this is what you can do. Because for you, it doesn't matter. What matters really is that you actually have a reason to do what you are what you're setting out to do. And that's the only thing that matters to an Aquarius. So it's not about the ego being on the way. This failure card normally means, that we have had wrong assumptions, and now, we're just going to reap those kind of fruits from what we have sowed. But that's not just necessarily all that there is. To me, the first message is, okay, now you have the star. I mean, it means you are present in here. So you can pick up your pieces, you can put them back together, and then you can actually get to this position of newly acquired comfort. It's going to be a comfort that's going to feel and look different to what you normally did. But like I said, this card, actually the shadow card, the shadow side of this card would be that you actually, everything is just so comfortable that it gets boring, and you certainly don't want to be there as an Aquarius. I mean, not many people would, but definitely you don't want to do that. So if you can pick up your pieces, which you can, then this is what awaits you. It's a new dimension of comfort, something that you had not foreseen before. But that doesn't mean that it's not just another way to do it. I mean, and who better than Aquarius can understand the concept of everything can changes anyways, whether you want it or not, and still make do with it. Yeah. So just let go of this card here that says torment. I mean, again, not the prettiest of cards, but all it keeps saying is you are in this phase where things are actually complicated for you to handle. You're really out of your comfort zone, and not that Aquariuses need a comfort zone, but I mean, it could be destabilizing for most of us, and you're human too. So even if you can take a challenge to a whole different level, much more than any other sign, I mean, you're still human. I don't know how else to say it. So you understand why this, a good card and a not so good card, and then a hopeful card and then a not so hopeful card. This whole reading was all about that, and I'm just gonna call it probably the tug of war, because that's how it feels to me. It's been like this bouncing back and forth. Yeah, I'm this, but I actually want to be that, and but this is what I need to do, and so I'm gonna try to do, to take it to completion. Yeah, but how am I going to do that? I don't have the tools. So it's complicated. But rest assured, I mean, that was my greatest, happiness to see, because that's exactly where the reading is leading me to, at least to think about it. The end of the reading is coming out to this card, which is the Mother of Water, and I already had a good feel about this card just by looking at it. But it's also I pulled confirmations for it, which are the Sun, which is the happiest card in the deck, if you will, and also the Ace of Water, which is a brand new beginning, which has a different feel for sure from the Ace of Earth that was right here. The Ace of Earth is a grounded beginning, which is fantastic, because you need to have a different kind of grounding into a new experience. But this also defines a different approach into this new experience, which is a bit more emotional, a bit more in touch with your own self. If you don't want to be emotional, because maybe it's not the word that you're most comfortable with, but it's a card that tells you that you're more in touch with yourself, and you as an Aquarius, you definitely want to be in touch with yourself. You never want to lose sight of who you are. So the Mother of Water, per se, it's a woman that is very much in tune with her feelings, with her intuition. And so she's a very loving being. She's a very loving energy for herself and others. And she's a good listener, and she takes a whole lot of care for others. And so she is the kind of energy that can be intuitive enough to understand where the truth lay about others, and she's very rarely wrong. And so that's you transforming into the Aquarius that you are, with the intuitiveness that it's proper to you, but having reached the different level, the higher level. So you're going from the Sun to the Mother. So you're finally stepping. You see, the beginning you had the Mother of Air, which was what you seem to be needing to work towards, and you're ending your reading with the Mother of Water, which means you finally have reached that point, or you will be. And so I believe this is a very beautiful reading, not the easiest one, not for me, and possibly not for you, but like I said, you can take on board so much, Aquarius. I really I am in awe for the kind of loads that you can carry. But I hope that this gives you confirmation if that's what you were looking for, first and foremost. I hope that this gives you reassurance that it can be done. And if anything, if you are in a phase indeed where you just don't know what to do, you're pulled in a few different directions, and you understand that there's a change that is needed, I hope that you get that as a positive affirmation that this is indeed the path that you're supposed to go on, and so that this is a helpful reading for you. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it there. If this was useful to you in any shape or form, just please don't forget to give me a like, to share this video with somebody that you believe you may be interested or benefit from it. And please don't forget to subscribe so that I can actually grow my channel and post even more content. And if you have any suggestions, advice, or anything you want to chat about, please send me a message in the comments below and let me know if there's anything you'd like to know more about. And I will be thrilled to be in touch with you, and I'll be posting again soon. Thank you so much. Bye.